Hey, Board Game Geeks, Brian Hazard. Listen, let's just get right down to it. If you're like me right now, you're just you're spazzing over Gloomhaven. It is a great game, maybe one of the best games I've ever played. It's a fantasy adventure world in a box. It is incredible. So what I wanted to do is something a little bit different. I'm going to do a video about the Android apps that are available right now for you to use in conjunction with the game because they're good. There are a few of them that are actually pretty neat. There are 5 apps that are available on the Google Play Store right now, and we'll go through all 5 of them, and you can get an idea of what I think of them, and see what if you might be interested in downloading them and using them for your game. The first app that I want to talk about is an app that addresses an issue that some people have with the game. So this is the book of scenarios that's in the game. There's 95 of them in here. Now no spoilers here except for the first page, which is available online already anyways. So if you don't want to see this, just know I'm about to show the first page, the first scenario. Here it comes. You ready? Okay. So there's this. Now part of the problem that some people have with the game is they like the idea that they shouldn't know what's in a room until they enter that room. So the first app that I'm going to show you is one person's attempt to address that issue. I think that this app I'm about to show you is available on iPhones. I don't know though, and frankly I don't know the availability of most of these on iPhones. I think some of these are on Android only, and I apologize if you're an iPhone user. I'm going to show you what they look like on an Android phone and on an Android tablet. So let's get down to it, shall we? And this is the first app we're going to talk about. This is the Gloomhaven Scenario Viewer. This is a game that I was referring to earlier that solves the problem of getting information before you want to have it. This is made by RVG Software, but let's take a look at what this can do. Now, I will tell you this game doesn't work in landscape, it only works in portrait. That's not a huge deal. And we're looking at it here first on my cell phone. So we're going to only use scenario 1 for all of this review and overview so that you don't see any information you don't want to see. So again, spoilers, I'm about to open scenario 1. If you don't want to see that, you really just shouldn't watch this video if you don't want to see scenario 1, because I'm going to be constantly looking at scenario 1. So here we are. We're going to scenario 1, which is the black barrel. And so you'll see what it looks like on the map here in the game, right? You can kind of see that in my tiny front camera. This is what it looks like in the app. So what he does is, or the designer does, I'm pretty sure it's a he because I saw him posting on Board Game Geek, is he takes that page and he's translated it very nicely onto the small screen so you can scroll around and you can read the introduction. The other thing he's done is that he's made it possible to see the first room and set it up without seeing the rest of the map. Sorry if I'm moving around here too much. If you want to see the monsters ahead of time, and the game designer Isaac recommends that you do see the monsters ahead of time so you can plan your deck appropriately, you can reveal that. And if you want to see the tokens that are going to be coming up in the game, you can hit that button to reveal the tokens as well. So you're able to hide from yourself what is going to be seen in the next room, and that adds a little suspense to the game. So you can tap here once you open the door, and you can see what's going to appear in the next room. And you can zoom in on your phone's small screen so you can see that. And then you'll see there's a door there with a number in it, so when you open that door, you can hit this room to show what the next room is going to hold for you. And then you can hit this right here because that's the number of the door and you can see what it says in there. And then lastly, when you finish, you hit the conclusion section and you can see what the conclusion will be, what points or whatever comes up, which new locations are opened, and that sort of thing. Now, it is capable of showing, okay, I know I said I was only going to show the first scenario. I'm going to show the first room of the second scenario because I want to show you how this app works with a scenario that takes up 2 pages in the book. So, again, spoilers, you're about to see the first room of the second scenario. I'm not going to reveal anything else. Okay, so on scenario 2, you'll see the first room and where it starts, and you'll see at the bottom of the screen there's a next page button. If you hit that next page, it will bring you to the next page of that scenario, which in this case is just a conclusion, but in other circumstances there may be some other text there. So this app is very cool. I'm going to look at it now on my tablet, and we're going to see, talk a little bit about one versus the other. Alright, so what we have here is the same app open on my tablet. My phone, by the way, is a Galaxy S7, and my tablet is a Galaxy Tab S2. and all these apps work without any real problems on those. So we're going into scenario 1 again. The biggest difference, and the reason why I think I'll probably end up using my tablet instead of my phone, especially for this app, is the size. On the tablet, it's way easier to see the text and the map and everything else without having to zoom in a lot. Not that much difference between the phone and the tablet other than the ease of use. It also will not turn landscape, as you can see. That was weird. So that's a bit of a downside for that one. But this app is available. It is free on the Google Play Store. Let's take a look at the next app, which is going to make keeping track of the health of monsters a lot easier for you. Okay, our next app is the HP tracker for Gloomhaven. So one of the harder things to, or the more fiddly things in Gloomhaven is keeping track of the health and status ailments that are put onto monsters. The sheets, the enemy sheets, and the envelopes that we use to keep track of that stuff are great design ideas. The envelopes tend to have a little bit of a bow to them, and so when you have like living bones and you have a whole bunch of them and you're trying to put the little tokens on there to keep track of their health, it can get a little fiddly, it can get a little crowded on there. So this app is a way of keeping track of monster health without having to use those tokens, monster health and status. So you see here it's too quiet. What you can do is, I want to point this out because I didn't think this was all that intuitive. If you go here into the settings, you can change the, make sure your screen stays on if you want to have that, and also you can change the level of the scenario so that you're getting the right information and stats on the monsters. So once you've done that, you go in here, and since we've been talking about the first scenario, when you walk in, the first thing you see are some bandit guards. So we're going to pick bandit guards. I was playing 2-player with my buddy Alan, so that meant we had 2 normals and an elite. You'd still want to randomize the numbers, the chit numbers that you use, so you can do that by hand. Just pick whichever chits that you had, and then once you've established that, you pick them there, and they appear here on the screen. Now there's, you can see it shows whether they have shields, and it shows you what number they are and how much health they have. So by hitting the plus and minus, you can reduce the amount of health until they die. So if I go all the way down here, the bandit guard has been slain, which you can undo. You can undo their death. You can also add health if you need to, so that's kind of cool. Also, if you want to get rid of a monster, you can simply swipe them off to the side like that, and they'll disappear, which is nice. If they have a status ailment of some sort, all you have to do is just quickly touch on their icon, and then you can pick the different status ailments that you want to put on there, and then when it's time to get rid of them, you can just touch the ailments themselves and they will go away. This is great. This is a great way of keeping track of health. I will also say that it is landscape friendly, so if I do this, boom, we've got that. It works good in landscape. And on a phone in landscape, it's going to continue showing them down the screen in a slightly wider format. So this is great. If you ever want to add, if you want to add more of the same monster that's already on the screen, just do a long press on the face of the monster, and I just picture that in my head. Some monsters like, what are you doing? Long press on the face of the monster to add that. Or if you want to add another type of monster, you can hit the plus down here and pick any monster you want. You can have as many as you want, as far as I know, and it will keep track of all of them for you. So that is very nice. So this is a nice app. Let's take a look at it on a tablet and see what it looks like there. Now you may notice that the screen that you're looking at right now on my tablet has the same monsters on it that my phone did. Now this is cool, and this is really neat about this app. You can link your phone and your friends' phones by using a Roomcode. So if I go up here into settings, you'll see that my game has a room code, 030304. So if I want to share this game with my friends, I would hit the share button up here, and it shows my ID code. So if on my other friends' phones, they can go in their settings, and all they have to do is go to Roomcode and type in the ID code of my game, and the phones will be synced together. I think if they're on the same Wi-Fi. I wouldn't know because I'm just doing this in my house, and they're definitely on the same Wi-Fi, which means that everything that you do on one screen or tablet or phone will affect all the other phones that are in the game. So everybody can have their own phone in front of them keeping track of the health of the monsters. So yes, the chits are fiddly, but everybody can see them in the middle of the table. This makes it so that that's okay. You'll still be able to have this universal information, but you'll be able to have it in front of you at your own place on the table. You'll notice that when you do this on a tablet, it does use the real estate of the screen to greater effect, which I think it should. Let's go landscape. We'll see what that looks like. So there you go. In landscape, you can get 3 across, so this is great. And again, you can keep track of as many as you want. And just for effect, let me go back to the phone here and show you what this looks like with the changes I made on the tablet. And you can see all the monsters that I added on the tablet are now here, and every change I make on one will affect the other. This app is fantastic. I absolutely anticipate using this app for my games moving forward. So the next app is also related to monsters, and let's take a look at that one now. Actually, I'm already back on the cell phone, so I don't need to cell phone. They're not even cell phones. They're not cell. They're hardly phones. So let's go in here. You'll see I got a little folder here. Let's go to the next one, Monster AI. Not to be confused with Monster AF, which is a super monster. That monster is Monster AF. Gloomhaven Monster AI by Monica Scrucha? I don't know. But Monica made this app, and what it does is it allows you to simulate the monster action decks and their combat modifier deck. So let's go in here and take a look at this. So as soon as you open it, it wants to know which monsters you want to have in your game. So what you'll do, since we're talking about the first one, remember that there are a deck of cards for guards, and it doesn't matter what kind of guards, whether it's a bandit guard like this or another guard that'll come up later that I've never seen before. So we're just going to pick guard, and it also says that there's going to be a bandit, archer, and living bones in this game. So we know that going in. That's not secret information. So we're going to pick bandit, archer, or living bones, and archer and guard. Okay. Now, before we go into the game, this particular app is a little twisty in how it, once you go in, it tells you to pick what monsters. You got to go over here to the side. You want to make sure you're picking the right level for your scenario. You can either just automatically pick your scenario level by using the plus and minus at the bottom, or if you're not sure, you can actually select the level of your heroes up here with these sliders. And by doing so, the app will automatically tell you which level. At some point, there we go, now we're up to level 2. So it will do the math for you by showing it all the levels of your heroes. Then it will tell you what scenario level you should be playing at. Want to ignore it? Fine, just hit that and hit set scenario level, and you're good to go. In addition, you also want to go down to the bless and curse area. If you want to add blessings or curses to the deck, you can do that here. And then once it's time to play the game, you go to the card section. So you'll see, that's my concern about it, is that it's just a little not in order. It's not intuitive of the order that you would use it. So up here at the top of the app, you've got your combat modifier deck for the monster. And then here are all the action decks here for the AI of the monsters. So when you start a turn, you hit this little, well, actually, let me hit the information button in the front and it'll show you what the icons do and what they're for. And the eye will hide the modifier deck, the combat modifier deck. I probably won't ever do that. You start a new round by hitting the little snakes chasing each other, and you use that at the beginning of the game after all players have chosen their cards. Tapping on a monster will draw a new ability. Why am I reading it to you? It's right there on the screen. You can see it yourself. So one thing she does mention in the description of her game on Google Play, which I feel like she probably should have mentioned in the app itself, is that the application will shuffle the deck automatically at the end of each round when miss or crit cards are drawn. It also automatically shuffles it at the end of the round when it has done when you get a little time to shuffle icon on the action cards too. It doesn't say that anywhere in here, and some people are misunderstanding that. So when it comes time to start a new round, you hit that right there, and the cards will come out for the monsters. Now, if you want to not have a monster included on the screen until you go into the room, you can do that too. I think you can just add monsters as you go. But having it here doesn't matter. It'll just ignore the deck until it becomes one that you're going to be using. So it'll pull up a card for each monster, and when that monster attacks, you just tap the little combat icon at the top, and it will give you a modifier. It will also keep track of a little history there on the right side. You can move up and down. to see which combat card you got. And it looks like you can also just go ahead and add blessings to the deck by hitting the blessing card. If you long press it, you can go into this section here and change which blessings and curses are in their deck. And you'll see if you keep hitting this, eventually you're going to get there. So you've gotten the rotate thing. Now, the decks don't get shuffled when those come up until the end of the round. So it might still go, but it keeps the icon there to tell you it's going to shuffle at the end of the round. For these monsters down here, every time you do a new round, you're going to get new cards. Note that if you walk into a room, you're supposed to draw cards for those people right away, and they won't have had a card yet. So you can do that by just tapping on the name of the card. So Living Bones, you'll see I'm tapping on that. Now you'll notice that as I was tapping, the little rotate icon came up, and then I hit it again and it went away. If you touch the middle of the card, it'll show you a history of all your cards. You'll notice that even though we've gone through a bunch of cards, it's only showing 2. That's because it automatically shuffled the deck once you hit that rotate before it started drawing more cards. So it does shuffle those decks as needed. So if you want, you can hide that modifier deck as so. If you want to, that's fine. So I have mixed feelings about this app. I think it looks like it works pretty good. Let's go landscape, see what it looks like. For reasons I can't explain, my phone stopped recording when I switched to landscape. Here's landscape, not that much different. It does allow you to play in landscape, so that's good. Let's take a look at this app on my tablet. We'll see if there's any significant differences on a tablet. Here we are looking at this Monster AI on a tablet. Not Monster. I keep thinking of Monster AF. It's terrible. So Archer and Guard. So let me show you what it would be like if you didn't put in the Living Bones right away. We can do that here, right? Why not? We'll go in here. We'll go to Cards. So now I just have the Archer and the Guard. And I would I'll show the combat deck there. So we'll start a new round. When I hit the little recycle button up there, new round. So you'll see that the Archer already got that shuffle the deck icon, and so it will do that after I'm showing you the history here of that deck. So when I do this, it will have shuffled the deck. Yeah. So this one's okay. I don't know if I like this more than the deck itself, but it is an option to use. I don't know if I see myself using this. I think the monster hit points one is super useful. Oh, landscape. Forgot about landscape. Let's go this way. There we go. That's this one in landscape. The next one I'm going to show you is one person's attempt at making a campaign, an app that will allow you to track the progress of your campaign. So let's take a look at that next. This next app is the Gloomhaven Campaign Tracker by Selfish Vulture, and it doesn't have a whole lot of downloads yet. It looks like it's pretty new, and he's still doing some work on it. Let's take a look at this app. So when you open it up right away, it wants to know, it gives you his email address if you want to contact him, and it lets you look at your characters, party sheets, campaign, and your settings. Now, one thing I noticed, if you go into settings, there's nothing. I'm not sure if that's a problem with the build working on my phone. If I'm in the settings screen and I hit settings, I get still no settings. So maybe that's going to come up later. If you go to the characters section, you right away pick which class you want to be using. I've been playing Mind Thief, so I'd go in here. You can put the name of your character and the level, XP, gold. These are all just essentially text boxes to put that information in. Then you can indicate if you've collected the perks, and then you can even mark if they are retired. And then once you've done that, let's just put in a name. My character's name is Rat. So yeah, so there we go. I hit the save button. They have saved my rat. I can edit it. I can delete it. If I want to add another character, I hit this. I pick the icon here. So one downside, and as a matter of fact, I'm doing it right now without even meaning to, is that by the designer included the names of all of the locked unknown character classes that are in my box right now. I just showed you and myself a bunch of classes that I didn't want to know about. So right away, if you don't want that, do not use this app, because this app is going to give you that information. So I can go into then the party sheet, and the party sheet again is just a very basic, it's got some text boxes on it that allows you to put in some stuff and then hit save. Are there any settings in here? No, there are no settings. And so those are okay. Those are serviceable. The last part here, and I think unfortunately the part that's the least good of this, is that the designer tried to implement a map similar to the one that's in the game that you can keep track of your progress in the game on. If you want to indicate that a location is available, I believe you're hitting this little round button and putting that on the map. It's not like if I would have liked to see him simulating the stickers. So if you're going to go through the effort of having the actual pictures of the map in the app. So now I've got two X's down here, and I don't know why. One is to choose a marker to delete, and one is to add a marker point, which is interesting because it's red now. So then what does this one do? All right, so the app's screwing up. So if I touch this, I just touched the little button that looks like the global achievements, and it saved the game. So there's something wrong with the buttons right now. So I'm not even going to bother. I'm not going to show this one on the tablet. It's pretty much the same. Let's see if it handles landscape, just to be fair to the designer. Yeah, you can't play it in landscape. I can't recommend this one. It is a work in progress. Plus the next app I'm going to show you, which is by far my favorite of these, really blows this particular campaign manager out of the water. So let's take a look at this next one. This one I think you're really going to like. This is the Gloomhaven Campaign Tracker by Stefan Timm. I did communicate with him by email earlier to let him know I was going to be making this video and to ask a question about the app. So, hi, Stefan. Love your app. So this particular one is really clean. It is simple, and it doesn't try to do anything real fancy. I think part of the problem with that other campaign tracker is it was trying to look pretty, but it wasn't functioning that good. So with this one, when you open it up, it goes right to here. This allows you to track multiple campaigns, multiple parties, multiple characters, and it lets you keep separate event decks and item decks and everything for all of those campaigns, which means that if you don't want to make any marks on your Gloomhaven game, the map, the cards, even the pads of paper that come with it, this app would allow you to completely disregard those things and keep track of the game entirely in here. You'll notice in the top right corner there are two buttons. If you hit the button in the upper right on the left side there, it lets you pick which campaign you want to be looking at right now, so you can have multiple campaigns going, and inside each campaign you can have multiple parties. So when you go in here, you've got three selections across, or four across the top: world, city, party, and unlocks. And then if you use the little drawer button over here, you have campaign, characters, and then the ability to export or import your database, so it's sort of like saving your progress in here. Let's stick with this campaign right here. So this is the main campaign screen, and you'll see the name of my campaign here is Hawkins, and you've got the world. So from here, you can show which scenarios you have unlocked, which achievements. Right at the beginning of the game, you would have the unlocked scenario of Black Barrow. So I've done that. I've gone in here and well, right at the beginning of the game, it shows you that you have Black Barrow unlocked. If you hit these three buttons over here, you can tell the game which treasure is available as it's listed on the map. If you are using that other app that doesn't let you see that, then maybe you wouldn't have this information. But it's nice to put in here, because if you do, then you're able to indicate whether or not you've looted that particular treasure yet, which is good to know in case you want to go back and get it and you want to keep track of which ones you haven't gotten yet. But if you hit completed, just heads up, if you hit completed on a scenario, you cannot uncomplete it. So by completing Black Barrow, you see it's completed there. Before it had unavailable. Here we go, Barrow Lair. It says it's unavailable. Why does it say it's unavailable? Because if you remember, in order to go into Barrow Lair, there's a requirement, a party achievement. So if I go over to party, you'll see that I have my party achievements, and I don't have any in here yet. So when I start the game, or when I complete the first scenario, I'm going to be getting a party achievement. This is not any spoiler. This is just some words. It doesn't really do anything. It just unlocks the next scenario. So by having the party achievement of first steps, if I go back here to unlock scenarios, you'll see Barrel Lair is now available for me to complete. So it shows you the scenarios. It shows you which global achievements you have, and at the beginning of the game, everybody has the same global achievement, which is City Rule. So we assign that, and we pick Militaristic because that's what it is. So it keeps track of that for you. It also keeps track of road events. So you still need the deck so that you can read the cards, but one of the things that's hard to keep track of is whether or not a card's been read. If you're not going to tear them up and you want to store them somewhere else, that can be a bit of a pain as far as the logistics of doing that. So if you use this, you can hit the draw a card button. It will tell you which event that you drew, and then you can either put it under the pile or you can remove the event based on what the card tells you to do. So if you put it under the pile, it's just going to put it back into the deck, and it'll tell you that it was drawn. So there's always a history that's going to be permanently kept of all the cards you draw. If you draw a card and it says to remove it, it will do so. That card has been removed, and it keeps track of that so it won't be drawn again. If you have to add a card because of retiring a character or something, you can put in the event reference number and then choose whether or not to shuffle it, and then hit add event, and it'll keep track of that. Awesome. That's really great. So the ability to keep track of all global achievements, road events, and unlock scenarios here. The unlock scenarios means that if you don't want to put stickers on your map or mark up that sort of stuff, you can do that. I'm still going to put the stickers on the map because I like looking at the landscape and seeing where things are related to each other. That's just me. And if you get a bonus scenario, like a side scenario, you can just go in here, pick the scenario out of this list, and say, like, for example, in my first game, I got scenario 68, so I would pick 68 and put it in here, and then it would become unlocked and available for me to play. So that's kind of awesome. Also, over time, some will become blocked, and they will end up in that list down there. If you go to the city area, it will show you what items are available. If you hit item store, it'll show you what items are available based on the prosperity level of the city, and you can add unlocked items based on designs that you find. Additionally, you can keep track of the prosperity of Gloomhaven, and as the prosperity rises, you'll see, if I go to item store now, you'll see that items all the way up to 28 are available because the prosperity has gone up. So I'm saying this app is really nice. It keeps track of a lot of stuff. I'm putting my prosperity back down here. And sanctuary donations, it'll keep track of that as well. If you go to city events, this is just like the road event deck. It does the same thing. It keeps track of the cards for you. Let's go to the party tab. In the party tab, you can keep track of your party's reputation, and it'll keep track of your shop modifier. You can mark your current location, which would be Black Barrow if you're playing early on in the game here. So we'll pick that. Gives you a place to write notes, your party notes down there. Your party achievements are tracked here. We kind of saw that a little bit already, so you can pick those. And then you have the button for your party member. So I just made a party here real quick of a number of different characters. So you can see these are all people that are in my party, and if you touch on each one, it will open a window for that party member. Let's put me over there. And it will show you their name. These are text boxes, so you can put in their level, their experience, how much gold they have. This up here is their personal quest that they're working towards retirement. You just put in the number of the cards so you can keep track of it. So you have that here. You can keep track of the check boxes here to working towards perks. And you have notes that you can keep down there. And then if you go over here and touch this little dude with a sword, it will say Mike's abilities. And if you hit plus, it'll say reference number and ability level. If you hit the double check mark, you can put in the perks, and this is kind of neat. It says add perks with the number of the checkbox, count left to right, top to bottom, and add a comment. So essentially it's allowing you to mark off perks on your character sheet. And then if you hit the little sword button, you can put in the item numbers that you have, like pretty sure there's some boots that are number 14. This essentially makes it so that you don't have to keep the cards separated. You can keep all your items in one deck, and when you play, you just look at your list of cards, Mike's cards here, and pull out what he needs. This allows you to keep track. This is great for solo, because it allows you to keep track of all the characters in your party in one place, which is pretty sweet. The other thing that you'll notice about characters, I'm going back here a little bit, is over here in this side menu, you'll have a list called characters. Now, the reason I contacted the developer is because I noticed that you're able to make characters in this screen, but those characters can't be added to a party, and I wanted to know why. His answer was that sometimes you may not be using this app to track everything about your campaign. Maybe you're playing in somebody else's campaign and you're just keeping track of your own character. So you can create a character here that's just a solo, a single character. So let's just make a guy, we'll call him Jim, and say his personal quest is 5, I don't know, 517. We add that. So Jim is here. You'll notice he doesn't have the little two dudes on the side, which means he's not actually a member of any party. But you can still track him as a character here. So I just wanted to show you that. Let's go back to the campaign, and I'll show you the last part that it tracks, which is the unlocks. It actually keeps track of all the unlocked things here. So when you retire a character, which you can do if you go into party members, so you can go here, hit the 3 buttons, hit retire. When you hit retire, watch this. It's going to say, do you really want to retire him? I do. It's going to say, great, congratulations. Open the town records book. And when you go back to the unlock area, you'll see it's already checked that itself. You retired a character, you can open the town records book. Once a character is retired, if you're not going to, you don't really have to worry about keeping track of him anymore. So I'll go to the character screen. Lucas is retired. You see he's got the old man with the cane there. You can just delete. You can delete him. You can also unretire him. Maybe you retired him by accident. So what I like is that it will not allow you to pick unlocks if you haven't actually done it. Like if I try to pick the gain 5 ancient technology, it won't do it because I haven't gained all 5. I have a party reputation or 10 or higher. If my reputation goes all the way up to 10, bam, you've unlocked, oh, maybe you didn't want to see that. Actually, what I like is he calls it the Sun class. That's not actually the name of the class. That's just the name of the icon. Awesome, because that is smart. It prevents us from seeing information we don't want to see. So that's the gist of this app, and I got to tell you, I'm definitely using this app. And to prove it, we're now going to switch over to the tablet, and I'm going to show you this app, what it looks like on the tablet. It's a little bit different. Especially, just note here on the world screen, it says unlocked scenarios for that button. That button's different on the tablet for some reason. But I'll show you what that looks like over there. Let's go look. Okay, so here we are over on my tablet. You'll see that my campaign name up there is Has Solo. This is my actual campaign that I'm using. I've moved all my information in there. So you can see the scenarios button is a little different. It doesn't say unlocked scenarios, it just says scenarios. You'll see it uses the landscape availability of the tablet very nicely. So you have your buttons over here and you have the information over here. I have completed Black Barrow, and I have unlocked a side campaign, which is indicated there. So you can see all that. See my global achievements here, which are not that much different. You'll see that there is a removed event deck card in my history. I just put that in manually. You can just hit remove card and enter the name of the card. And you'll see in my city, I've got no prosperity. Oh, I didn't mention to you, if you do the sanctuary donations high enough, it'll automatically unlock the unlock on the screen here, right? I'll do that. Congratulations, unlock, open the envelope. Doesn't tell you what's in there, just tells you that you can. And then over here you have my party members. Name of my party is, yeah, We Break for Loot. Because we do, it's true. So in my party members, you'll see I've got Rat, which is my Mind Thief, and Tremor, which is our Crag Heart Face dude. The app doesn't give you a way to keep track of your battle goal, which is fine because that's going to be such a temporary thing. So that's what it looks like here. If I go to landscape, it looks, it still actually uses the sides. So it doesn't switch over to act like a phone when you put it in full size. So that's good. Pretty solid. I approve. That's the gist of it, guys. That's the scoop, the skinny, the lowdown, the real 411. I've run out of things. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to put links to the Google Play Store in the description so you can download any of these that you think that are going to be worthy of your time. Thank you so much to Isaac Childers for creating Gloomhaven and his willingness to participate in the community that's grown up around it and his willingness to allow people to develop this sort of thing. It's very generous of you. Really appreciate that. Thank you to Stefan Timm for getting back to me so quickly and questions I had with your campaign manager. I will tell you personally, I am definitely going to use the campaign manager by Stefan. I can't decide whether I want to use it on the tablet or the phone. It works really good on the phone, and for a solo game, you don't really necessarily need the big screen of the tablet. However, I'm almost certainly going to use the scenario viewer that hides parts of the map for you on the tablet because I just like that it's a bigger screen, bigger picture, easier to see. And because I'm going to be using the tablet for that, I will probably use the tablet for everything else. But But I can't wait to show anybody who plays Gloomhaven with me that has an Android the Monster HP Tracker. I will definitely use the Monster HP Tracker. I will definitely use the Campaign Manager. But this is what's available for you now. There's a lot. There may be more to come. One last thing I want to mention in the Gloomhaven scenario viewer is that once a treasure is on the map, you can actually hit the button in the upper left corner to see what that treasure is instead of having to look in the back of the scenario book. I forgot to mention that. Any questions or comments, please feel free to put them down at the bottom. You want to like or subscribe. I'm not going to get upset about that if you do. Thanks so much, guys, and I will see you on the Geek. Take it easy.